Now that you've found UBN Radio and discovered our quality talk shows, it's time to spread the word to friends, family, and the universe. 24 hours of music and talk. Radio without limits. That's why people keep coming back for more. That's ubnradio.com.
It's time for the Bonnie Sher Show, a whirlwind of wit, wisdom, celebrity, and the boomer life. With a little bit of this and a lot of that and so much more you don't want to miss, here's Bonnie.
And shuffle ball change.
And shuffle ball change. Hello and thank you to my old friends and new for tuning in to today's show. I first of all would like to throw out a thanks to Wayne Cobham for my super duper theme music. Thank you, Wayne. I am Bonnie Sher, your host through the worlds of celebrity, the boomer generation, and the world of type 1 diabetics. Boy, today's guests are multi-talented, jazz singer, phenomenal actor, incredible stand-up comic, and as I'm getting to learn, an incredible stand-up woman, Rain Pryor.
Oh, shucks.
And somebody else who's been a guest. Actually, Roger's been with us before, and this is Roger Sparks, who is a member of the T1D community with some very exciting news to share. So, if you have a question, if you have a comment, call in to us, please, at 323-483-2826, or you can follow the hashtag, that's hashtag BSHER Radio on Twitter. All right, then. Got that taken care of, so let's settle down, settle in, and please say hello. Please say hello to my first guest. If your name started with an S, I would be in deep
We can change
chemistry.
it. Let's change it right now. Cindy Soklower.
Sister Rain Pryor.
Oh, hey, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
You think it's easy to get all these people into this room?
It's not easy. I can't believe
But
they're
for
here.
you,
My
for
goodness.
you, Rain.
I'm telling you. Can I take them with me wherever I go? I don't even know why I'm talking like that now. It
I
just
don't
seems
know,
like
but
it
I
goes with
kinda
your
like it.
right?
I
Oh
don't
my
know.
God.
Would you like to speak in a different tongue?
Can I wait? Do you know? Okay, so I wake up in the morning. My daughter cracks. Right? Thank God I wake up. I have
the
this
daughter who's only the cutest little
right.
bean.
I think I have this woman that lives inside me because she comes out, and her name is Vivian. I've named her.
We have Vivian doing.
Vivian, and she's an old star of the stage and the theater, darling. And she wakes up in the morning. She's like, "I'm going to do a show today. I don't know where, but we'll find a place. It could be the bar."
Good. That's a good
Right.
place for her.
All right.
And I've been reading. You are involved in so many different things right now. The people were screaming of their excitement at your show last week at Iridium in New York. Holy moly, that's not the easiest room to get those kind of reviews out of that I've seen. And boy, oh boy, I mean, obviously I couldn't be there because, well, I was here.
Right.
But, word
you.
spread very quickly.
Thank you. I'm really excited. I've been singing jazz and blues music for as long as I can remember, and a lot of people don't know I sing because they assume, well, you're related to Richard Pryor. That's what you do. You do comedy, or you're a funny girl. And it's like, well, actually, I was raised music. I am, but I was raised musically. So, so to be able to, I was very successful actually in London performing my jazz and blues to an audience that didn't really know me, which was nice, but it was always packed. and it was always a great response. And then later years, as you mature and your vocals mature, and to be able to perform at the Iridium and have the response I did, and then be asked back and to do this last show, it just
Scott, that was a
Scott
brilliant
Barbarino,
move
right?
on your part,
Right
Mr.
on,
Barbarino.
I know, he's amazing.
And tall.
Right, and huge.
I would never. And he's the sweetest guy in the entire world. And when I first met him, I was cowering.
Right.
If he
Little
doesn't-
do you know, he's probably a Jewish boy with the name Barbarina, but you don't know.
Oh, we helped him. Penny,
Right.
Penny changed
He's
his name.
hilarious.
He
Right.
is. He's and he runs.
He
a good
reminds me
club.
like a very nice mobster.
He-
Yeah, right? A really sweet mobster. Like, come over here, kid. You're going to perform at the Iridium. We're going to start at 7:30.
gonna make you- yeah.
Right. We're going to make you famous, and then we're going to put you on the road. It'll be $1.50. That's all you get at the beginning. But later, it'll get higher.
There'll be
Trust
big
me,
money.
kid. Trust me, kid. Big money. Just sleep in the back of my car. You'll be fine. Sorry.
All right, here's the question: Do
Yes.
you, because you clearly have a lot of funny,
Sorry.
do you think that all comedy is born of tragedy?
The comics I know are so tragic. I think so. Like I stopped doing comedy for actually ever because I'm a really happy person, and I don't know where to find the funny and I really don't know how to find funny and happy, and I think you have to have a lot of pain, and the comics. Every comic I know has a lot of drama and pain. I think I could probably create a sitcom rather than do stand up now at this point. And but yeah, I do. I think you have to have some serious life experience to be a stand-up, because you're commenting on life basically, or politics, or whatever it is.
But you do that as a matter of course. You and I were
Right.
on the phone for an hour. That was the best, hour of material I've ever heard.
But no one comes to a club to hear that. I wish that. Wouldn't that be awesome?
You want to
If
know
I
how
could
many
just
people
talk?
come to the club and want to hear me sing? Why go?
I
She'll
would.
come over to the house
Right.
and sing right here. But that's something too. There was a wonderful quote that came from Ella,
Oh,
and her quote was,
Ella. I got to
know.
play Miss Ella.
That's what I'm getting
Don't look like her.
to.
Don't have the color of her. Don't compare me to Zoe Saldana doing Nina Simone. I'm sorry. However, being able to play Ella was amazing, and to learn the reasons why she sings the way she sings. I'll just say it's remarkable. No one has a voice like that woman. Ever.
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 So the quote from Ella was, "The only thing that's better than singing is singing more."
Yes.
And that
I know. That's who you are too. Right?
So it's exciting. That's the jazz vein is,
Yes.
I used to do a lot of more Broadway type stuff, and big and belty, and I
You were a
belted.
Broadway bar.
I was when I was 12.
I remember seeing you. I remember seeing you on the stage with the flowers and things, and then you walked off and you never came back. I don't understand it. You're amazing, doll.
It's because my mother grabbed me and said, "Let's get the hell out of here, kid." Tell me about Dad in terms of. Was he pushy? Was he a pushy stage parent, or was he
No.
like, "Chill, kid"?
I think I was the pushy stage kid. Like, I knew this is what I was going to do. That's all there is to it. Like, I think I was born with law of attraction from the get-go. So, it was like he knew this is what I was going to do. My sister
Did
was
he
going...
know that was what he was gonna do?
Pretty much. Pretty much. I don't think he knew he would be famous, but I think he knew. He started off as a cabaret singer. So he was singing this jazz and this blues, and then I think someone made fun of him and said, "Tell jokes," and then he started telling jokes, and then they laughed harder, and then
Was there
it
a
became
lot of
thing.
music on in the house? Do you remember that?
Always music in the house. My dad played piano. He played drums. He played the trumpet.
Did he take
And-
lessons from Sammy?
Right? You never know. He probably did. Well, we were also friends with Miles Davis, so that's part of it. Miles Davis actually was my babysitter in New York City when I lived there with my mom. I know, isn't that crazy?
Amazing.
Riverside Drive, yep.
And she left you alone.
And she left
with
me
him?
alone.
Yeah,
with
that's
him, yeah.
another
He used to-
story.
and I put that in my show because he would play the horn just to put me to sleep at night. You know, be like, time to go to Dreamland. You know, because he had that that voice. Yeah.
Oh my
Right?
dear, boy,
Isn't that
that's
incredible?
that's just
Yeah.
a
So
power.
I have a thing for. So I have a serious. I would say, people have fetishes. My fetish is I have a fetish for Miles Davis, Chet Baker. Oh my God, name it. If you're a horn player, I'm like, play, just play.
Well, then
Yeah.
you ought to be getting to know Wayne Cobham, who is the fellow who wrote my
I
Super
know.
Duper. Wayne is part of my posse when I perform, and he can blow that horn.
See, we got to get together because
Although I
I need
really-
to build my band here, so maybe we can.
Oh,
I need to
I've
build
got
it.
some great people
See?
to introduce you to.
Let's do it.
Because I'm a misery to no, I'm
Right. We got a show to put on, child. Let's do it.
Yeah, you just think I'm going to sit here and be cute and funny
Exactly.
all day. And
We
not
got
get
work to
paid.
do. Exactly. We got work to do. We got
Let's
money
go
to be
find
made.
another club that's going to keep our money. I especially like that. So at this point, I realize that you've just made a major move across the country.
I
so
did.
what does your daily process look like now? I mean, are you one of those really disciplined? Okay, it's coming out. I never remember the word discipline. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Especially when I'm
Right?
referring to
That's
myself.
so telling, Bonnie.
Yes.
So telling, darling.
Hey, in my own way, I guess. But are you? I mean, I realize you have a small human that lives with you, and
Yes.
that commands and demands a particular
Yes,
kind
and
of
they're
schedule.
unpredictable. So forget schedule.
But so are we.
Right, aren't we? This is what I do. I'm a very fierce meditator. I meditate, I chant, I walk. That's how in the mornings I wake up literally at 5 a.m. I'm like the crazy hour person. And I walk and I meditate and chant, and then I do whatever I need to do to like kind of, and then I wake her up and get into all the crazy. And then when I have a free moment, I go off by myself and breathe. I'm so one of those people that if I see someone stressed out, I'm like, can you just breathe? Because we forget. And if you did that, maybe some of that stress would go away. It's like, why cry over spilt milk? Why try to make something happen that you can't make happen in the moment? I'm one of those.
Because you had the expectation to start with. And the
Right.
minute those expectations get locked into our brains, then where do you have to go?
Right.
You know, and I hate being disappointed
Yes.
more than anything.
I think anyone does.
And for that reason, it's been something that I don't call it meditation. Everybody has their own terms.
Everybody.
With me, because I have my degree in
Right.
hypnotherapy and medical, yes.
When are we going to get together with that? Because I have an issue I need hypnotherapy for. The fumar must
See-
stop.
Stop it, okay? 1 hour with me, and you will be someone who used to smoke.
Let's do it.
We'll do it.
All right.
But we can't do it now
No,
because we
but
got
we're
a
gonna,
show
no,
to
no,
do.
it's going to be on. I'm coming over. We're having dinner, the whole thing. Like
I'll
I'm inviting
feed you.
myself over to Bonnie's house. I'm
Hey,
one of those
come on
people.
down.
I'm just so one of those people now.
Jarvis has had dinner at my house, and he's still
Nice.
living to tell his story. I even sent him home with some filleta. Like we're still in the Catskills. Filleta.
That's
I do.
hilarious.
I feed my crew.
You feel, all right now.
I do.
So lovely.
Did you ever... God, I know I did. Did you ever have to take a really dumb job just to keep yourself together financially?
Yes.
Tell me the dumbest, worst... Not...
Are you ready? You won't believe it.
I'm ready.
Okay, it was right after the big earthquake we had here in Los Angeles. What
In
was
the
it?
80s.
In the
Late
eight-
80s, was it?
late
89 or 90?
or
Because I knew
90
I
I
blew,
think it was
yeah,
like
I blew out of
93,
town
94.
2 weeks before
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
I was so like you would think, oh, she was on the show, da da da. She had lots of no, not at all. Because agents, managers, everyone takes from you. I literally worked as a stop sign girl for earthquake debris pickup, wearing the orange vest and one of those hard hats.
Did they take?
Because I had a Russian boyfriend who that was his business. Exactly.
He was in the vest business?
No, he was. I know, right? I wish. No, he was. I think he was probably a Russian mobster because he owned the construction company. Yeah.
Well,
So,
that's pretty bizarre.
Как дела, хорошо?
I lasted
You're
2
going
days.
to move the truck over here. Stop the traffic. Stop. That's my job. Stop.
You're a stupid.
I was a stupa. Right?
But you see that
$30, $35 an hour. Hello,
Hey.
child.
I could stoop
Exactly.
for 35 minutes.
Right? I could have been a stupa. See, there you
We
go.
were separated
I know, we
at birth.
were.
You know that,
So I
right?
did that, and then I also worked for the psychic hotline.
Did you tell them who you were?
No.
Of course not. Did
Never.
you? Did you
But I
say
wouldn't
you
give-
were Richard
But
Pryor?
I didn't stay, right? I didn't say, I should have.
I am the
from
voice of Richard.
I'd be like, hey, stop spending your money.
Stop
will
spending
never
my
work.
money.
Right. It won't work. But I used to not give lotto numbers or anything. I would tell people, you're not going to win. So why are you trying? Like, save that money and
How
go buy
long-
Pampers.
And so, like, how long did they let you keep that job?
Like a couple of months. Because I couldn't keep people on the phone. It's like, I can't lie.
I got fired after 2 days.
Where?
At one. Schrafts.
What the heck is Schrafts?
See, that's where your youth and my
Sorry.
not the youth.
Is it a restaurant?
It was in New York. It was a whole
Oh, see,
chain.
I wasn't a New York person. That's why.
Schrafts had
The whole time.
the little ladies who wore the
Cute
little
hats.
with the little veil thing
And you got fired from that with your gorgeous self? Are you kidding me? I don't think they understood who you were. Next time, tell them to call
every
Vivian.
plate. I was not meant to be there.
Okay, I can see that from you.
So then they tried to find something else for me to do. And
greeter,
they
maybe?
had, yes, that's what
Right?
it wound up being. Only they had like a higher level restaurant in the chain, which was like in the 70s in Lexington. You know,
Wow.
and different menu, different kind of thing.
I said
And they
different
would-
men. That's hilarious.
Same,
Get my
same
head
men,
out of
different
the
story.
gutter,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, same guys, different story. These were the uptown guys. No, because at the Schrafts,
Right.
it was all about those little ladies with the silver gray hair. And may I tell you how well I fit in there?
Right,
Oh, I know
not.
why I got I got fired because of the man who left me a 35-cent tip.
You went off on him.
I did.
Right.
I did.
How could you do
I
that?
said I would have,
Except he had to take out his teeth and explain it to you, and then you kind of mellowed out a little. It's like, look, honey,
I didn't have time to mellow out.
look, honey,
It was like,
that's all I got. It was just
yeah,
a
but-
cup of coffee.
So they made me like the cocktail hostess as well as
Of course.
greeter and whatever.
I could see you'd make a great bunny.
Bunny Bonnie.
Bunny Bonnie, right?
I did come
Where's
from
Hef?
Chicago.
Say, where's Hef when we need him now? Hugh Hefner.
He's living in the house that he just sold for $200 million.
Of course he
That's
is.
part of his deal, that he comes along with the house. Kind of like that old Cypress out there. you
Right?
know?
That's hilarious.
But he made the deal.
Good for him.
Anyway, back to you.
Yeah,
It's all
sorry.
about you.
Oh, okay, sorry.
And you were sharing with me a moment ago
Yes.
some news that made you go, yeah.
It did. I may have the chance to be a lead in a real off-Broadway musical.
Wouldn't that be
I
just
know.
sweet? Now that you've moved to Los Angeles, you're going to get work in New York. Is that the story?
That's usually how it happens,
It
I've
does.
heard, though.
It does.
Yeah.
Well, it could be-
and there's little things, like, this whole week has been about that. So there's someone who wants to produce my solo show. Fried Chicken and Latkes, my jazz blues show is, we're booking that now. So it's all these things are happening that didn't happen because I think Baltimore, I was also living in Baltimore, Maryland. I think that's a vortex I think the devil lives there and I was one of his children and I must have done something right for somebody that I got my wings and was able to fly out.
Having been
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
I can definitely understand that. Well, I want you to come back, spend some more time
Is
with
this it?
us
We're
on another
over?
day.
I'm so
I'm
sad.
afraid so.
I'm
They
sad,
only
Bonnie.
give me 50 minutes.
All right, I love you.
I love you more.
You're awesome. Thanks for having me. I so appreciate you. And thanks, Penny Landau, for.
And if we hadn't said
I
that,
know, right?
we would never sleep.
I know right now she's verklempt and she's probably crying.
No. She's getting over the part where she was saying, "I bet they don't damn well say a word about me."
And she's like, "Oh my
So,
God,
Penny, a shout out to you, my dear. You did good this time, kid.
love you." Thank you for having me.
Before I
Yes.
let you leave,
Yes.
though, could you please tell our audience how you may be followed, and not in a bad way?
Right. So if you want
No stalking.
No stalking. I'm under Rain Pryor on everything. Rain Pryor at Twitter, Rain Pryor on Facebook, or Rain Pryor Productions on Facebook. And Instagram, Rain Pryor, or www.rainpryor.com.
She's a .com. Don't you just love it?
I still have AOL. Hello. I'm not
I
getting rid of it.
noticed that.
No one hacks your AOL. Hello. I'm keeping it.
You do that.
I
I'm
will.
going to make, I got an itch.
I know. I'm like thinking
And I'm gonna
something
give
wrong
you
with
the
me. Right?
itch. Thank you.
Thank you.
so much. Well, I'm catching up with myself. I'll be back in a minute. But before we go to break, you know I'm going to tell you again because I missed the line. It, honest to God, was a true pleasure to get to meet you.
Thank
and
you.
yes, we're going to hang. Now you are listening to the Bonnie Sher Show. Come on and join the conversation. Call in, ask a question, give us a comment. The number here is 323-843-2826. Following the hashtag, aren't you? Hashtag #BeShareRadio on Twitter. What is coming up next are going to be my soapbox entries for the day, my shout out and shout downs. And it's my take on who got it right and who should probably be ashamed of themselves. But right now, I'd like to go to break with a very sweet and quick look at the many, many talents of Rain Pryor. Take it away.
What's the big deal if I'm black and a Jew? In temple I sang the blues. Your life is fried chicken and latkes too. I'll make shabbat for you. How you guys doing? Hello! Happy Monday! Collard greens, some matzah too. We'll all dress in ghetto central and I'll sing Barbara Streisand's Yentl. Papa, can you hear me? Papa, can you see me? See me? Hello, the lights. He barely even knew me. You see, he was too busy making movies, and let's face it, people, my dad had way too much on his mind. Say, baby, would you like some? So my father, the genius, and my mother, the go-go dancer, together they blew each other out of the water and me into the universe. And there I was, this black and Jewish kid in Beverly Hills, which meant I was proud, but yet I felt so guilty for it. Now we came home once in the middle of the night to find that the entire apartment was changed into the African Heritage Museum. A black velvet Jesus was nailed to the cross. His eyes were glowing in the dark, and I don't know, okay, I'm sure. I saw his schlong. I kid you not, a black man's schlong is not something you want to joke about, was I? The time I ever discovered a black hair salon, it was called Oh My Nappy Hair, right next to Oh My Nappy Talent Agency. And I should have known from the title not to walk in, but instead I walked in and the hairstylist was like, ooh, you got some in between hair, yeah. It ain't straight, but it ain't kinky. You have got to be mixed with something, girl. What you got? You got some Caucasian in you. With some black. No, some woo-woo-woo-woo. You motherfucker! There will be no punk rockers in this house! Dad, there are hookers in this house! Okay, you win. So y'all came out tonight to see my great baby granddaughter, little Rainy Pie. Born, you see, on her father's side to a prestigious line. Prestigious line. Of pimps, madams, and prostitutes. When Jesus is my portion, my constant friend is he. Well, it's about damn time you answer the phone. Someone could be dead here already. What's the problem? The problem is my daughter is 13 years old. She has a plastic bag over her head. She's trying to kill herself, and well, frankly, she's driving me fucking crazy. Hello? Oh, shit. How's that for service? They put us on hold. You young lady, you're grounded. Forever!
That's some action, Miss Pryor. Get out and see her. She is just phenomenal. Well, welcome back. And sitting in with me in this segment is somebody you might remember as having been a guest with us. I think it was the end of March 31st, as I recall. And this is Roger Sparks. Roger has just undergone and still remains in the islet cell transplant program at City of Hope, which he knows so much more about than I could ever know. So I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to turn this over to Roger. And really, folks, if you're out there, this is your opportunity to get your questions answered as best he can. And please take advantage of this moment. This is for you. I know that I have become more and more fascinated as time goes by. 2 years ago, when I first heard about the program, I really wanted to be able to be included. Howsomever, they didn't take me. But lucky for all of us, and lucky for Roger, well, he was accepted. So, ladies and gentlemen, say hi to my T1 guest who lives right here in the state of California. Say hi to Roger Sparks.
Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you very much. It's great. It's great being back. I really, really appreciate it.
Well, I mean, if I wasn't going to follow this story, you know, I'm giving up on Trump already, so I decided there's no more story there for me.
I'm not sure I like that comparison.
Do I want type 1 diabetes or do I want Trump? Da, 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 da. Okay, well, enough of that. Last time you were here with us, you were, I guess, from January 1st to March 31st. You were that far along. You were still needing, as I remember, approximately 20 units of insulin a day, and that was,
That's
of course,
correct.
Down from around the 60 unit a day mark.
That's exactly right.
So, what's been happening? Like 2
Well-
weeks ago, I hear you had quite a day.
Yeah, I had, first of all, I've had the whole experience with the City of Hope and the islet transplant team there has been really beyond my ability to describe adequately. It's been such a fundamental change in my life. I had my first islet transplant on January 1st. I got at that point in time, I don't know if everyone knows how an islet transplant works, but essentially they take islets from a donor pancreas, God bless the donor, and inject them into my liver. And the minute they inject them, those islets start producing insulin. And the question is always how many islets take in this operation. You have the infusion of the islets into your liver, and then you have a period of about 30 days where they propagate in your liver. And they never know how many are going to make it. I got my first transplant about 450,000 islets from my donor. And those islets, we don't know how many survived, but we do know the results of the transplant. And that was that, first of all my hypoglycemia was eliminated.
That's a big first of all.
Well, it was a huge first of all.
Yeah, sure is.
Secondly, my insulin requirements, as you said, went from about 60 units a day down to about, less than 20. So it was between 16 and 18 units a day.
Okay, let me stop you right there. At that point in time, Roger, before now this second introduction of cells to you, and you were still taking your parenteral insulin. How were you eating? Were you eating like a type 1 or you were eating like a person?
I was eating like a type 1 still. I was, what happens is, I've been a diabetic for 35 years, so you learn a way, you count carbohydrates, all the things that you do. Count carbohydrates, you adjust the amount of insulin you have, you avoid bad carbohydrates. And those habits don't change because suddenly you have an infusion of islets.
They would with me.
No,
I got to say. And what about now?
It's really the same way.
I'm sorry, I'm jumping you ahead.
You did. Well, let me...
Forget it. Go back.
So here's the deal. So I'm taking that much insulin, and I had a decision to make. And the decision was, do you want a second transplant? Do you want to see if you can get off insulin totally? And the whole reason I got involved with this particular program is that I wanted to do something that would prove that you could be a very highly insulin-dependent type 1 diabetic, which means a lot of insulin, and you could eventually get to no insulin required. Because to me, that process of them learning how to do that with you was a big part of what was going to benefit everyone who has diabetes at some point in time. So I decided to have a second transplant, and they decided I could have a second transplant. And so on the 16th of this month, I had the same operation as I had the first time from a second donor. And you'll hear me say this all the time, God bless the donor.
Absolutely.
Because if it weren't for donors, there would not be a clinical trial. If there weren't for clinical trials, there would not potentially be a cure at some point in time. So tying all those things together, and it all starts with the donor, somebody's pancreas that you're going to use in your body. So I had the second transplant on the 16th. I got another almost 600,000 islets, which meant I was in excess of 1 million islets. And from the moment I got the transplant in the operating room, I stopped requiring insulin. They took my blood sugar every moment during the every 5 minutes during the operation. We went back to, the operation was 2.5 hours. We went back to intensive care because you're highly subject to infection at that point in time because they lower your immune system when they're doing this transplant. And for the rest of the night, my blood sugar stayed within 2 points, between 85 and 87 for the rest of the night, every time that they took my blood sugar. And you're a type 1 diabetic, so you understand how bizarre that is and how it sort of defies your imagination. And from that point forward, it's been about 14 days now, 15 days. I have not had a blood sugar out of a normal range, which means somewhere in the 80 to 140 range. I've eaten what I want to eat when I want to eat it. I check myself for my insulin pump about 5 times a day because I'm no longer wearing an insulin pump.
Right. And it becomes so much a part of us.
It is the most.
How is it not to have to operate on a 9-volt anymore?
It's just it's beyond. It's truly beyond my ability to describe adequately.
When did you first decide you wanted to be a part of this program, and what was that process like?
I've been following clinical trials for a long time. Other than having diabetes, I'm pretty healthy. I always had tight control of my diabetes, and I'd been following a number of clinical trials. And I knew I wanted to be part of one at some point in time. And I found the City of Hope one, and what actually convinced me was there was a video on the City of Hope website by Dr. Candile, who is the chair of endocrinology at the City of Hope. And he said, our objective is nothing less than curing diabetes eventually. And the minute I saw that video, I said, I want to be part of this. I want to have something to do with this program. This was in the middle of last year, so I picked up the telephone and I called them. And they started me on the process, and they approved me on December 22nd, as I remember, put me on the recipient waiting list. I got called on New Year's Eve to report New Year's Day. For the second transplant, it was even faster. I got put on the recipient list, and 4 days later, I was approved and in the hospital on the operating table. And it's a life-changing experience. So, and by the way, anybody out there that wants to participate in this program at the City of Hope, you can just email them at islets@coh.org. And it's the first step. And I would encourage you, if you're a type 1 diabetic, get involved. It's the best thing you can ever do if you want to contribute to what is eventually, I believe islet transplants are going to be eventually a cure for this disease. Now, they'll argue about the word cure. Nobody likes to use the word cure. Essentially what it's done is eliminated my symptoms. Okay, it hasn't really cured me. I'm still a type 1 diabetic.
That's why you can still be my guest,
I'm
Roger.
I'm just a type 1 diabetic that doesn't require insulin. And that's quite a phenomenal thing to be able to say. We don't know how long it'll last. Part of the program is figuring out the right combination of drugs, immunosuppressant drugs that you've got to take. That's part of what the clinical trial is about. They're trying to, how can we elongate this period of time where you do not require insulin, and how can we keep the immunosuppressant drugs at a low enough level so that they don't cause you other problems? You're obviously more susceptible to some conditions, but you don't really think about that. What you think about is eventually this is going to make a difference, I believe, for every type 1 diabetic. So I proudly say I'm a type 1 diabetic not taking insulin, because it gives us all something to say that if that can happen, it can happen for all of us at some point in time.
One question that seems to keep cropping up on Facebook about you is people's concerns about the taking of the immunosuppressive drugs. Can you speak on that? We don't have a whole lot of time, but it's an important point.
I'll try to do it fast. I hear that all the time. Oh, I could never take immunosuppressant drugs. Look, if you're a type 1 diabetic and you've dealt with hypoglycemia, you know that hypoglycemia is about as bad a thing that could ever happen to you. And there's all kinds of risks associated with it. Hyperglycemia is the same situation. You can get ketoacidosis. You can get in real trouble real fast. So for me, the potential of a long-term problem with immunosuppressant was just not an issue for me.
Well, you heard it. So give it some thought. You know, this could be your story, your child's story, your husband's, your wife's. what a wonderful story. Roger, thank you.
Yeah, if you want to know more about this, you can just Google Roger Islets, or you can Google Sparks Islets, or you can Google Roger Sparks Islets, ISLETS, and you'll find my blog with the whole story.
Well, I suggest you all have a read, have a look at that. Roger, people want to contact you if they have questions. How can they do that?
The blog is the best way to start because my email address is there, but it's roger.sparks@visual, VISUAL, me.com. It's Roger D. Sparks on Facebook, and it's Roger D. Sparks on Twitter.
I wish you all
Thank you, Bonnie.
all of the best continued. I'm really excited for you, and on the other hand, I'm a nice kid. Why didn't this happen to me?
I want it for you, Bonnie.
I know you too, Roger, and I want it for all of you. Let's get rid of this now. I do really hate to end this segment, but time for me to step upon my soapbox. Yeah. You'll see what you think after I tell you what's on my mind. First of all, I'd like to give a shout out to Christelle Oram. She was on my show last week, and an error was made. I made it. The actual URL for Christelle is thefitblog.com, and she is at the Real Fit Blog on Twitter. Her information is just too important for y'all to miss, so now you have the accurate information. Now for my shout down. And I had, as I was writing last night, I was going to go off on politics again. However, I feel pretty impotent when it comes to that, other than praying that everybody's going to vote and make a difference in November. But my point is something annoyed me that's a lot closer to home, and it's something I want to talk to you about now. I have mentioned this before, but I feel it warrants repeating, and that is to the type 1 patients and their families. Do you really believe that it's so productive for y'all to be taking one another to task? It just seems like such a waste of energy. I think if you really think about it, you aren't angry at another mother. You're not angry at another T1. You're angry at the damn disease. So get that straight, and please, one more time, stay together. We're so close. Don't break us apart now, because I'm going to be watching. If you have an opinion, and I'm sure somebody will, please feel free to contact me at bonniesher.com/blog and sound off. Well, that's another 50 minutes. We're not at 50 minutes. Let's see what else I have to talk about. That went a lot faster than I thought, and now my computer. So how about those Yankees? Where do I go? I know where I go. This is the part where I'm going to tell you that I am going to be back next week with another 50 minutes of celebrity entertainment, talk about the great boomer generation, and, of course, the type 1 diabetes community. I want to take a minute to also thank Corey Bowen from Crown and Anchor Jewelry for providing me with this black diamond bead necklace. Follow Corey, drop down to the bottom of my website, bonniesher.com. You will see a place to click and connect with Corey, and I promise you, you're going to be very happy that you did. Well, I think that about covers everything, but there's one more shout out, and that is to our fearless leader here at UBN Radio. Tony Sweet, you wonderful man. I want you to heal quickly. Get the heck out of the hospital. We need you back here because everybody's sloughing off in your absence. Kidding! But really, shout out to you, Tony. Thanks for everything you do. Well, all of you who know me and those who are just starting to know me, you will come to find out that Sammy Davis Jr. was a major force and factor in my life. He was my friend. He was my mentor. And much of who I am and how I've progressed and proceeded is due to him. So, Sam, if there are speakers up in heaven, then this one's for you. Take us out.
Whether I'm right or whether I'm wrong, whether I find a place in this world or never belong, I gotta be me. I gotta be me. What else can I be but what I am? I want to live, not merely survive. And I won't give up this dream of life that keeps me alive. I gotta be me. I gotta be me. The dream that I see makes me what I am. That faraway prize, a world of success, is waiting for me if I heed the call. I won't settle down, won't settle for less, as long as there's a chance that I can have it all. I'll go it alone, that's how it must be. I can't be right for somebody else if I'm not right for me. I gotta be free. I've gotta be free. Daring to try to do it or die. I've gotta be me. I'll go it alone. That's how it must be. I can't be right for somebody else if I'm not right for me.